Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another weekly video about news and information on DCS World. Now I'm your host Pricklyhedgehog, so thanks for joining me once more as we look at this week's newsletter and of course the changelog from an updated patch following on from last week's massive patch. So here we go, let's take a little look. Well, of course, they did run into a little bit of an issue following last week's patch with regards to the Hornet's radar. And Eagle Dynamics are asking if you're able to, document or log in your notable issues that you're having with it or are willing to contribute in some way. Obviously, you need to go to the forums to do that. They're thanking you in advance if you're willing to help them rectify some of the bugs that they have with that. Which is cool. And of course, yeah, there'll be some people that will be upset about, yet another instance where a patch has been initiated or implemented and then there are some issues. I think in fairness, remember that last week's patch was a ginormica, but it probably, I don't know what the total size of it was, but remember that Microsoft released, I think, a patch for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 this week that was 70 some gigs. So when you think of scales of issues, it's easy to be a little bit one-eyed about things. So yeah, either way, Eagle Dynamics, if you're able to contribute to helping them solve the radar issues with the Hornet following last week's patch, then they would greatly appreciate it. So where were we up to with open beta? We're at 2.5.6.54046. Let's look at the changelog, which again is pretty decent, but we can manage it this week because it's not anywhere as big as last week's. And there's some goodies in here. First set of goodies involved the shader compilation for DCS World, where there was an error on big display resolutions. That's been fixed. They've added some single missions for Syria, including the following aircraft: the A-10C, the Mi-8, and the Su-27. There are other missions as well for other aircraft, so stand by. They've added countries, new countries: Lebanon, Combined Joint Task Forces Red, Combined Joint Task Forces Blue, and the United Nations Peacekeepers. These, as I said, are added as new countries and the mission editor. The Aviojet has seen some love. They've done some work on the formation lights, amongst other things, including some textures in the cockpit and elsewhere. The Gazelle has had its sight glass opacity and reflectiveness, changed for, as I said, the gun sight there. The MiG-19, some apparently damage was not being transferred to the physics model correctly in some cases, so that has been rectified, amongst other things. The MiG-21, you're now going to be able to fly in Syria with some quick missions, and they've updated navigation for data for the channel, and I believe also for the Syrian Map as a result. They've introduced some structural damage on G overloads as well, so some pretty cool stuff there. And they've adjusted the radar code for FPS increase. That is still a work in progress, and they're asking for more feedback on that as well if you're able to contribute. The JF-17, of course, from Decker Ironworks, still a work in progress, received quite a few changes here. The F-14B, now new. They've added fire and smoke animations for the engine fire and compressor stalls. It's still a work in progress. They've had some fixes to the Cage the Bear campaign, thanks to Kaba. Several fixes to quick start missions, which is cool, and they have fixed the key bindings for the ARC-159 mode key bindings, guard manual preset, increase, decrease. Jester will set the AN ARC-182 to AM now when starting from cold, and the A indexer, brightness, step up, down keyboardings have been fixed. The Vigan has also received some love, and again it has some quick start missions for Syria and two quick start missions for the channel map. So if you were looking for those, that is handy. You'll be able to fly your Vigan in some missions in the Syrian map, which is neat. The Hornet, as previously mentioned, they have basically done some work with the air-to-ground radar so that it is able to detect some vehicles and ground objects, which it wasn't previously, amongst a few other minor things. They've added Israeli and Turkish skins to the F-16 Viper, which is cool. The P-47Ds had a updated flight manual to fix some typos. The L39 has failures assigned in the mission editor, didn't work, so those have been corrected. The SU-33 for Flaming Cliffs 3, the ramp start is possible only with power off. That's been fixed. The A10C Warthog restored the assigned engine failures in old missions. The MI-8, the Spring Tension campaign, Mission 18, 2 helicopters spawn on one place, that's been rectified. The I-16, they've had some broken controls animations in the cockpits, those have been fixed. And if you're wondering about Ugramedia's map, the Syria map, remember that it was released with some known bugs and probably will continue to receive more attention. Here are the ones that have been squashed for this week. They have fixed known bugs in the airfield taxiing, airfields parking, and airfields lighting. There were bugs in collisions and lighting in the stadiums, and bug when forest rendering range settings. Those now work. They were working now works properly. Also improved airfield lighting at parkings, collision shells of object, including helipads and hospitals, lighting of city blocks and unique objects, scenes around unique objects, surface textures, fixed joints and artifacts around roads, scenes of airfields in the takeoff and landing courses, collision shells of trees, and the map wallpaper, which is cool. Campaigns here, there's been some adjustments there for the A10C's advanced training, aircraft training qualifications campaign by Maple Flag, which is very nice. Now, lastly here, as we wrap up things, the FA-18C Raven 1 campaign by Baltic Dragon. If you're not familiar with this, it's a freaking cool set of missions here. This campaign is really, really cool. I've only had a little tinker with it. The opening sequence was really, really immersive and really, really neat. Mission 1, the prevented USS Vincent Aiello from shooting at Iranian patrol boats. I wonder how Jello feels about that, not being able to shoot at patrol boats, but they've added information about the campaign guide to the briefing. They've fixed some rare issues where the spacebar command for radio check would not work. In fact, I think I experienced that. That's been replaced with an F10 menu instead, which is good. Mission 3, they've adjusted part with the enemy manpad shooting at player's wingman. Prevented a rare occurrence where the UAE M2000 would slam into the player when refueling in Mission 5. They've updated kneeboard, added marshal frequency in Mission 6. Mission 7 updated the speed recovery of the helo. Or speed of the recovery helo, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Reread that correctly. Mission 8, they've updated the starting location of Raven 12. She's no longer blocked by static aircraft. Mission 10, fixed an issue where the campaign would not progress if the player didn't refuel. Mission 13, the fixed faulty trigger detecting when the player lands. So some good stuff there. That pretty much wraps up the changelog for this week. Not anywhere near as big as last week. And as I mentioned, the Microsoft 2020 patch being 73 gig or so, and this is pretty tiny stuff. So that's good. Means we can download the patch quickly, get some corrections, and move on with our lives so we can do the important things, which is flying our freaking cool, sexy jets, if I may quote Cap. Now, last thing here too, before we wrap up today's video, is news about Tactical Pascal, who's running another 24-hour charity stream on September 11th to raise awareness about mental health. Obviously a very important thing going on right now. I think a lot of us are under a lot more stress than typically we would be. Families with unemployment in the household, kids going back to school but going back to distance learning. There's all sorts of things going on, so there's a lot of people under natural stress right now. It's natural to feel a little bit more anxiety. I really struggled earlier on this year being at home and trying to do work, which just felt like I was doing homework. It didn't really feel like work, which is not good. And that can be isolating as well when you, instead of just being able to yell across the hallway at your colleagues, you actually have to make a phone call, and then you're trying to, just the logistics of stuff is really, really frustrating. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, so that's a cool thing. If you're not familiar with Tactical Pascal, he is in fact an ex-RAF fighter pilot instructor, and his channel is very, very slick. He offers very, very good video. He's got a great Scottish accent, which is easy to listen to. It's easy on the air. And he's very, just very calming when he talks about the different things that he's doing. I find him very thorough and very professional, of course. No surprise there with ex-RAF there. They're very, very good, those guys, as are most of the pilots on these kinds of channels, I must say. But he's a good one because the content is good and the channel is slick, so well worth checking out if you haven't done so already. Like and subscribe him. Don't forget to like and subscribe me too. I appreciate all of the feedback, and it's very humbling having people give me positive feedback on these videos. I'll continue to make them if the community wishes, and I will continue to branch out my experience level with other things as time permits. As the summer winds down here, I can hopefully we'll be able to start making a few more videos here, but a lot of things to do around the house before we start shutting up shop for winter here in the northern part of the United States, the place I call home right now. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this week's patches. Let me know what you're up to and what you're flying and what you're looking forward to for the rest of the year. We're still waiting for the surprise aircraft, I believe, so looking forward to some more releases of funky, cool aircraft. Some cool stuff coming out from Razbam. He released some pictures of his, at least the placeholder F-15 shooting missiles. So there are things in the pipeline coming towards us, which is exciting from Razbam. So stay tuned for more. In the interim, be safe out there, carry on flying. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keeps the channel chugging along, and I appreciate all the feedback, of course, that I get. We'll see you next time, guys. Take good care. This is Pricklyhedgehog out for another week. See you later.